activists, as teachers, doctors, lawyers, and leaders is challenging and tiring, frustrating, and often thankless. But it is barrier breaking for women in your communities and for women around the world. Every barrier you break down today makes more advances possible tomorrow. As women, we have an important voice to add to the conversation. So thank you for your work, day in and day out, to make sure that voice is heard.
To be serving on the House Armed Services Committee. She is the only member from the Massachusetts delegation on this prestigious committee, and she's recently named to a leadership position as a top Democrat on the Committee for Oversight and Investigations. This is such an important role right now. She has championed the fight to combat and prevent sexual assault in the military, authoring multiple pieces of legislation that combine together to help our country have new tools to the armed services and to support more effectively the victims of this type of violence. She has led the push for modernized, lightweight, and gender-specific body armor. She has worked to grow the defense manufacturing base.
Good morning. Are we awake with that rainy day out there? I don't know, it's not so easy on a Monday, but it's great to be here, to be with you, and to be with so many impressive women who are seeking to be engaged in leading their country. I can't tell you how important it is. And also, I know there are some in the room who are from Northern Ireland. I was in Northern Ireland in 1999. There was a conference hosted in Derry entitled Economies Emerging from Conflict. Derry had been very much in the crosshairs of the conflict in Northern Ireland, and it was actually looking to Lowell, Massachusetts for a model as to how to move forward. So it was my great good fortune to be there, my first trip ever to Ireland or Northern Ireland, and I've been back many, many times since the House Armed Services Committee. I've been there 5 times, most recently just over Mother's Day. And later in my remarks, I'll give some of what we took away from it. But I can't, I think just my fact that I'm here really demonstrates my commitment to my belief in how important it is that women be engaged in the public life of their country. As you heard, when I was elected in the end of 2007, I was the first woman to be elected from Massachusetts in 25 years. And when this seat opened up, because the chancellor of this great university, when my predecessor became the chancellor of this great university, the seat was suddenly open. I myself had never sought election, but I had been part of so many campaigns that my husband ran. And I have to say, probably in an instant, I made a decision of sitting in my office at Middlesex Community College, right across the canal, and I think in the flash of an eye, I made a decision to run for office. I felt I knew what I was getting into. How poorly I don't think I had any idea what I was getting into. But, and I'm glad I didn't know, because sometimes there's no better way than to just simply do it. But I had seen my husband do the same thing many times over. Just make a decision to run for office, cross the starting line, and not stop until you finish. And I felt that it was really said something so terribly wrong about Massachusetts that we had not elected white And the bottom line is, our numbers are not as great on this committee. Our leadership is becoming ever more important. And I've seen how critical it's been. Women in the military comprise about 14% now. We expect it'll be about 25% by 2025. There is a real commitment to recruiting women into the military because the services recognize they need the talent pool that women represent, and if you don't include women, you're really, as we've discovered as a country, you're shutting out an extraordinary talent pool, and the country becomes weaker because of it. Better, so it's better suited to a woman's body. The weight is better distributed. But the most fundamental thing to me, more than anything, was that when a woman was wearing a man's body armor, often the shoulders were too wide. So it would come out too far over the arm, and as a result, if a woman had to hold a rifle, she couldn't get her arm up as high as needed to be. So she was actually put at greater risk because the body armor was not suited to her body type. So a lot of progress has been made on that, and more to be made. Now, I was just in Afghanistan, as I said, over Mother's Day, and we met with some women soldiers there. We go to do that, and a couple of them came up to thank me for the work on body armor, and they said, but did you know that we wear men's shoes? That when I said, no, I didn't. That you go out and buy, they go out and buy any shoe they want, but if they're issued shoes through the military, they have to wear a man's shoe. And so they both, the two women who were talking to me about this, said they wore size 5 men's shoes, when I think they probably wore about an 8 if they were wearing a woman's shoe. And one woman said her shoes fit fine, but the other said they hurt. So, and women's uniforms. For years they were assigned men's uniforms, again, not tailored for a woman's body. And progress is being made there for two in her waistline, so that she could fight off somebody who sought to assault her. Well, we took that to heart, and we began to really look at the issues around sexual assault, and they're really fourfold. You know, the fact that the assault takes place in the first instance is an utter betrayal of a person seeking to serve their country. They come in willing to give their life, little expecting that they will be harmed, brush them under the rug, kind of minimize the harm they've done, and do not seek to pursue charges. That is really the second betrayal. The third betrayal is 62% of those who do bring these charges forward now say that they suffer serious reprisals in the workplace, that they are singled out and made to feel bad, often ending retreat. And again, it was a group of women from across the economic strata, those who were very good, comfortable leaders, who are really kind of engaged in pushing ahead. But what I remember, there were several women, very impoverished, all clad in black, very fearful of being in the room with us, but they had received a microloan, and with their microloan, they were putting together a business in which they sold raisins. And that brought a modest income into their household, which made such a difference for their standing and for the economic well-being of their family. Again, we've met with the many leaders in government. We met with cadets at the National Military Academy. This is an academy that's been put together to train the Army of the future for the Afghan National Security Forces. And there's a small contingent of female cadets, and we met with them just to learn what their experiences were. And really what they wanted was to be treated fairly. The men are given a lot of scholarship opportunities to come to other countries and learn. They wanted to have those same experiences, but were told they couldn't go because they were afraid that they didn't run. But I think that people are ever more receptive to electing women for a whole host of reasons.
Right now, women's rights, women's involvement in the community, in every aspect, whether it's politics or economics or civil society, is very much engaged.
Can you speak up a little bit? We can't hear.
It's on.
It's on?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's better.
People are scared, especially the Afghan women, after 2014, especially with the evil law being thrown out of the parliament. And Taliban are returning in 2014, and the international community leaving. Do you have any idea, or is there any support to pressure the government of Afghanistan not to exclude women from the society? Because 12 years of hard work that has been put into this, education, like you mentioned, and all of that, is going to be freely thrown out. So, what is your opinion?
It's a great question, and it's one I heard often, whether it was with the students in Herat University, whether it was with the students at the National Military Academy, when we were meeting with parliamentarians and women leaders of of the NGO community, a real anxiety around what is going to happen as we withdraw. I firmly believe that we cannot stay there militarily, but I also firmly believe that the most significant gain out of our effort there has been what has been achieved for women and young girls. And that we as a country cannot be seen as abandoning those gains, that we really have to be very forceful around promoting, pushing the government to continue to protect those gains. Many of the women that we spoke with who were more on the leadership side of things said, we don't expect more. What we want is the space to hold on and fight for what we've gained.